countries around the world are bracing for what many call an international trade war. A trade war is an economic conflict between countries that typically arises when one retaliates against unfair trading methods. On March 4th, President Donald Trump imposed a 25% tax on goods from Canada and Mexico and an extra 10% tax on Chinese goods. These taxes are otherwise known as tariffs, and their implementation has resulted in international uproar and unease as countries formulate a response plan. But why did President Trump impose these tariffs? He says it's to pressure governments to crack down on the illegal trade of fentanyl, a drug that kills tens of thousands of Americans each year.
And just so you understand, vast amounts of fentanyl have poured into our country from Mexico, and as you know, also from China, where it goes to Mexico and goes to Canada. No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
In response to these tariffs, Canada, Mexico, and China quickly hit back with strong tariff packages on the U.S. Both Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum have labeled Trump's actions as unjustifiable and see them as the first step towards a trade war.
It is by no means our purpose to start an economic or trade confrontation, which unfortunately and regrettably is the opposite of what we should be doing, that is, integrating our economies more to strengthen our region.
While Sheinbaum voiced her disappointment in Trump's actions, Trudeau announced plans to retaliate. He argued that the tariffs are unnecessary since less than 1% of fentanyl entering the U.S. comes from Canada.
Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Trump has also threatened to impose similar tariffs on European countries. These tariffs are not just about curbing illicit drug trade. The Trump administration also wants to boost the economy by bringing manufacturing back to America. However, this move could hurt the economy in the short term, with rising cost of goods and falling stocks on the global market. Prime Minister John Britney says Belize plans to strengthen its resilience as North America deals with the fallout.
What we have to do is then to try to see that maybe start to look at other areas to import from. Most of imports come from the United States. And what I'm sure that Mr. Trump understands is that when he raised tariffs, the tariffs is not the country that's selling the product pays it, it's their consumers, so that the prices of imports from China into the United States will probably go up, so that maybe we may need to look at maybe import from Mexico or other countries or even Canada as opposed to from the United States. But that's not a decision that we will make as a government. The private sector, they are nimble. They are going to be finding and scouting out where they could get things that are going to be cheaper.
Britney says Belize will do its best to stay out of the line of fire. However, economist Dr. Leroy Almendares points out that Belize needs to consider the bigger picture. He explains that smaller countries relying on American imports might not have enough time to adjust to the price spikes, which will affect various industries.
The impact is far-reaching. I mean, when you really, I looked at, and I just looked at just quickly at 2022, we imported over 600 million. We exported about 86 million. So what's the trade imbalance that exists there? It simply tells you that we are very import dependent. And in agriculture, let's take agriculture. We might have final products, but what about the inputs? If we import inputs like fertilizer, whatever it is from the United States, and those prices are marked up, then what happens to our agricultural products? The cost of production will go up. The cost of consumption in Belize will also go up if it's for domestic consumption, if people really consume it locally. But what about exporting it? It drives up the cost of production, which simply means now it will cost you more to produce a unit of a product, so you'll produce less.
Almendares suggests boosting Belize's manufacturing capabilities and diversifying trade relations with Central America and CARICOM to counter the tariff impacts. We also ran a non-scientific poll on social media to see how Belizeans feel the impending trade war will affect the country. The majority of participants, 49% of the 1,039 voters, expect a strong negative impact, while 31% foresee a disastrous outcome. They predict higher prices for goods, suffering exports, and struggling trade-dependent industries. 8% think the outcome will be somewhat bad. 7% believe it won't be bad at all, and 5% are optimistic, suggesting that tariffs might open up more trade opportunities between the U.S. and Belize. Britney Gordon for News 5.